uh, discuss the meaning of the technical term Shaucha, and here Shaucha is a word which is also found in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, but the expansion of meaning which is more useful is presented in this text. Swadeha mala nirmoksho mrujjalabhyam mahamune yattat shaucham bhavet bahyam manasang mananang viduh. Now there can be two types of purification. One is physical and the other one is mental. Swadeha mala nirmoksha, we can cleanse our body, the dirt of our body, mrit jalabhyam, through the application of mritika clay and that of water. What is more important here, the syllable swadeha mala nirmoksha, it means everybody has a responsibility of cleansing his own body, and somebody else should not be employed to do that. I would purify my body, nobody else should come to purify my body. That is perhaps the meaning for which swa is used. Swadeha mala nirmoksho mrit jalabhyam mahamune. Here the utterances are sociologically significant. There was a trend for some time in India that other people whom sometimes we call low caste, they were being employed to cleanse the excreta, human excreta, and that point is being still discussed because somewhere in some small pockets of India that is still in vogue, and for that this syllable swa is very much important. Swadeha mala nirmoksho mrit jalabhyam mahamune yat tat shaucham, that is shaucha, and but that is not the whole aspects of full aspects of shaucha. Bhavet bahyam, tad bahyam shaucham bhavet. Then what is manasa? What is the mental shaucha? Manasa shaucha, manasang mananang viduhu. If we conduct a mental activity which is spiritually important, that is manana. This manana is not just a japa, a mechanical muttering. It is not a mechanical muttering. It is manana of that thing which is or which has been taught by the teacher. Shravana, manana and nididhyasana. These three things are there so far as spiritual education is concerned, and manana is that manana which has been already imparted and we have to ponder over it, we have to give time to the full meaning of it through our mental activity. That is manana. Maybe japa is also a part of manana, but that is a much less significant part of the whole process. So manasam mananang viduhu. The main thing is, if somebody is thinking himself as pure or not. If he is thinking that he is pure, purity to much extent, many extent depends on that. Purity is not always an external state of man, rather more it is an internal. Therefore, when we start our puja, we say apavitro pavitro va sarvavastham gatopi va yah smarat pundarikakham sabahya suti. Now, whether he is apavitra or pavitra, if he is making a smarana of Lord Vishnu, then he is pure internally and externally. Whether he is physically impure or not, that is not being counted here. Simply the importance of the names of Lord Vishnu and its spiritual efficacy is being highlighted. And every time in the beginning of our puja, we utter it to remember that the word Vishnu, the name Krishna, the name Rama, etc., they all purify the whole atmosphere of puja. Aham Suddha iti jnanam saucham ahur manishina. That is why if somebody deeply thinks and believes that he is pure, he is pure. If he thinks that aham brahmasmi, he is actually so. Aham Suddha iti jnanam saucham ahur manishina atyanta malino deho dehi chatyanta nirmala. Deha atyantam malinaha. The body is full of dirt, but even then dehi chatyanta nirmala. It has two meanings. The human body is full of blood and pus, etc., everything. So whatever activity you take to cleanse yourself, you cannot do it, because the very nature of flesh is that it is having some impure thing inside. But inside lives somebody who is purest. Therefore, atyantam malino deho dehi cha atyantam nirmalah. Dehi, the soul inside, is very, very pure. Therefore, just believing that I am pure, one is pure. Ubhayor antaram gyantva kasya saucham vidhiyate jnana saucham parityajya bahyojo ramate narah. If we see the difference between these two types of purities, then which one is to be respected first? Ubhayor antaram gyantva kasya saucham vidhiyate. Definitely the mental purification is more important. Jnana saucham parityajya bahyejo ramate narah. But most of us, what do? We do bahya saucha. We take bath and we do all the things, but inside we think our mental chain is so that it is not really conducive for a spiritual activity that we do, or we are that kind. Jnana saucham parityajya bahyojo ramate narah. One who is more interested in external purification, he is mudha, he is a fool. Sa mudha kanchanam tyaktva lostram grinhati subrata. He Subrata Sankruti, one who is firm on his spiritual vows is Subrata. So therefore, he Subrata, sa mudha kanchanam tyaktva, leaving aside the gold, he is after a lostra, a boulder. Now, why this is being said? We are already in our tradition, we have seen that great saints, they cared not for their physical purity, but they are mentally pure, not only pure but spiritually effulgent. They did not give much time to the purification of their own body, but their souls are as good as Brahman, the pure Brahman. And there are very important things in our Sanskrit tradition. I may quote one verse from Mrichakatikam, Those who have read Mritshakatikam of Sudrak, it is a prakarana, a type of drama. There it is being said that you take you give more concentration to your mental purity, and you go on the path of spirituality by doing these things. What? Sanjachata nijodaram, what we have already discussed, that you take care of your belly, whether it is growing more with more food intake or not, you have to see once and again. Nityam jagrata dhyana patahena, be attentive, awakened in the level of your meditation. Why? Vishama indriya chaura haranti chirasanchitam dharmam. These indriyas, these sense organs, they are like chauras, thieves. Why? Whatever dharma or punya you just save for yourself, they steal it very easily. And what is another verse of Sudraka in Mritshakatikam? There he says, Shiro munditam, we discussed it, the external purity. Shiro munditam, there are many saints who take care of their external purity, that is being discussed. Shiro munditam, tundam munditam, the face is also saved very beautifully. Shiro munditam, tundam munditam, chittam na munditam, but mind is never cleansed. Chittam na munditam, kimartham munditam. If that is so, then what is the necessity of external shaving? If chitta is not mundita, if mind is not purified. Yasya punas chittam munditam, one whose mind is purified. Sadhu sustu sirastasya munditam, although he is not externally shaved, actually he is well shaved. These two verses are being spoken by a character who is a Buddhist mendicant, and he speaks like that in 8th act of Mritshakatikam, very much in the tradition of Hindu philosophy. A Buddhist mendicant says like this: Jnanamritena truptasya krita krityasya yogina, one who is trupta, satisfied with Jnanamrita, and that kind of yogi is krita kritya. Whatever is to be achieved has been achieved by that yogi, if he has really drunk the Jnanamrita. Nachasti kinchit kartavyam asti chenna sasatvit, loko trayepi kartavyam kinchit nasti atmavedinam. Nachasti kinchit kartavyam, if somebody has done a thing which is already to be done and has touched the highest ladder of spiritual practice, then nothing remains to be done by him, nothing also remains to be proved by him. He has done the thing which has to be done already, therefore he has nothing to do at all. Nachasti kinchit kartavyam astichet na sa sattvit, if still that person thinks that he has to do something, then he is impure. He has the bandhana, he is in the clutch of the doing things. Means there are great saints, they are like Jivan Muktas, but still they do something which clutch them again. Therefore, that is being said, Astichet na sa tattvit, if he has anything, if he feels that he has to do something else, still something to be done by him, some work is remaining for him, then he is not pure, he has to strive more hard. It means a person who has touched the highest ladder of spiritual practices, if he is Atmarama, if he is satisfied what is done, what is to be done, and if he thinks that nothing more is to be done by me, nothing is there to be proved by me, then he is at the highest level. But he should have an introspection whether he has any desire to do something else, If that kind of desire, an iota of that kind of desire is present inside him, then he is not fully pure. He has to strive more. That is being said here. Lokatrayepi kartavyam kinchit nasti atmavedinam. Why? Because those who are atmavedin, those who have realized the soul, in the whole three world there is nothing to be done by them. If somebody feels that there is something to be done, then he is not yet 100% pure. That is the meaning. Tasmat sarva prayatnena mune ahinsadi sadhanai atmanam aksharam brahma vidhi jnanattu vedanat. Therefore, what is that highest point? To feel that I am that Brahman. That feeling itself will signify to himself, others cannot know that yes, he has gone to the highest level of purity. Tasmat sarva prayatnena, exerting all the efforts, spiritual efforts. Mune ahinsadi sadhanaihi, ahimsa etc., whatever, all these 10 yamas, by practicing them. Atmanam aksharam brahma vidhi, know that you are that imperishable Brahman. And how you will know it? Jnanattu vedanat, from the realized knowledge. In book it is said that Tattvamasi, you are that Brahman, and you tried to feel that oh yes, I am that Brahman. That will not help. This bookish knowledge is not going to help in Brahma realization. That is why clearly in Kenopanishad it is said that Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyah. Whatever we are discussing now is not going to help in achieving that kind of realization, highest realization. It has to be done by ourselves, for ourselves, and that is nothing but realization, no bookish information. Tasmat sarva prajatnena mune ahinsadi sadhanaihi atmanam aksharam brahma vidhi jnanattu vedanat. Now we are proceeding to the second part, Ditya Khanda. After Yama it is Niyama. So Niyama is being said here, and Niyama as per Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, Saucha Santosha Tapah Swadhyaya Ishwara Pranidhanani Niyamah, Sadhanapada Sutra number 32 in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So Saucha Santosha Tapah Swadhyaya Ishwara Pranidhana, 5 niyamas are there. Now what he says, means Dattatreya says, Tapah Santosam Astikyam Danam Ishwara Pujanam Siddhanta Sravanam Chaiva Hri Matischa Japo Bratam Ete cha niyamaha prokta bakhyami kramat shrunu, tan bakhyami kramat shrunu. Now these are not 5, these are 10. Patanjali Yoga Sutra says that niyamas should be 5, but here Dattatreya says niyamas should be 10, and in fact there are many other aspects he is highlighting which are spiritually important. Now first one is tapah. Vedoktena prakarena kritsra chandrayanadibhihi sarira soshanam yattat tapa iti uchyate budhaihi. Tapah ityuchyate budhaihi. Vedoktena prakarena. Why Vedoktena prakarena is being done, told here? Because the whole Indian history has seen 2 streams which have taken torturing the body as a spiritual practice for psychic improvement, Buddhism and Jainism. Not only conducting fasting for long days. In Orissa, western Orissa part, I am from Orissa, there is a trend among Jainas to conduct fastings for 3 months, 4 months, and these fastings are generally done by the senior masters, mendicants of the Pantheon. They do it, and their attendants, they see to it that they do not get any food and water, and they conduct their spiritual practices without any food, and they go on like this. The more days they sit like this, that the more they are respected. But that kind of torturing body is not prescribed in our Hindu Pantheon. Therefore, it is being said that Vedoktena Prakarena. Vedoktena Prakarena is being said because this text is post Jaina and post Baudha period text. Vedoktena Prakarena Kritra Chandrayanadivihi. There are Chandrayana Vratas which are for 15 days or 1 month, like that, Purnima to Purnima, something like that. Sharira Shoshanam Jattat Tapa Ityuchyate Budhi. The first obstacle in the spiritual progress is taking care of body, not cleansing the body, but taking more and more care of the body. We wish to beautify it, we wish to eat something which will increase its appealingness, all those things. Just to ward of those things, the just opposite thing is being said. What is that? That is Sharira Shoshanam. You have to make your body emaciated. That means if body is being emaciated because of some upavasa, etc., that is to be done, and not to that extent that other non-Vedic people are doing. Therefore, Vedoktena Prakarena Kritra Chandrayanadivihi Sharira Shoshanam Yattat Tapa Iti Uchyate Budhehi. But that is not the only thing that includes tapa. The basic, very basic thing of tapa is questioning some spiritual aspects of your existence. Who is he? What is his state? What is liberation? This kind of questioning should happen. Kova Mukhya, what is liberation? Katham Kena Sansaram Pratipannavan, how and why I appeared in this world. Iti Alochanam Arthagyaha Tapaha Sansanti Panditaha. Arthagyaha Tapaha Sansanti. Arthagyaha Panditaha Tapaha Sansanti. The Pandits, the Gyanis, the wise people, they praise this tapa, this tapasya, the penance, because these type of questions leads one to be very firm in his spiritual practices, in his spiritual penances. Therefore, if such questions really come to him, not getting inspired by the book or some teacher, if it really comes to him, naturally comes to him, then he is gradually treading the path of tapasya, the penance, that is being said here. Then Santosha. Santosha is such a thing which cannot be translated by the word satisfaction. I am having santosha. If I say I am satisfied, then it has a meaning. The thing which satisfied me should be acquired and procured once and more by me. That would be meaning. Rather, if santosha is contentment, then that kind of tendency of procuring things which satisfy me will be warded off. Therefore, santosha is not satisfaction here, rather contentment. That kind of contentment which wards off the possibility of collecting that thing once and again, which gives satisfaction. Therefore, santosha is contentment. Yadrucha labhato nityam pritirja jayate nrinam tat santosha viduhu prajna parigyaneika tatpara. Yadrucha labhato nityam, Pritirja jayate nrinam. I am coming again to Kumar Sambhava. Kalidasa is describing tapasya of Parvati. There is a level in tapasya where the saints, they sit under the tree. What do they eat? If a leaf falls of its own accord and it is within the reach of their hand, they can collect that leaf. They will live on that leaf. They will take and eat that leaf and nothing else. Swayam visirna dhrimapanna vrittita parahi kastha tapasah taya punah tadapyapakirnam atah priyambada vadantyaparnechi ti chatam pura vidah. But Parvati forsook that also. She sat under a tree and performed her meditation. But the fallen leaf which she was previously taking as her food, now she also left it out. She did not take that. That is why Parna means leaf. That is why she got another name by the spiritual aspirants, great spiritual mendicants, Aparna. Parnam na khadati atah Aparna. That means if a leaf falls its own accord, she does not go to pluck it. It will fall and within the reach of her hand she will collect and eat it, but gradually she left that also. Therefore, she is Aparna. Similarly, as we are thinking, discussing about the objects which come of their own accord to us, what should we do that? That was a question. I said that we will discuss afterwards. This thing we should do. Yadrucha labhato nityam. If something is given to us, even we did not exert any effort to get that, but God gave it to us as if it was in our fortune. That is called yadrucha labha. Of its own accord, it is coming within the purview of our reach. Pritirja jayate nunam. If somebody is happy with that, tat santosam viduh. That is called satisfaction or contentment. What is contentment? I am not exerting extra labor to get something, but something is coming within my reach automatically. If I am satisfied with that, then I am having contentment, santosa. Tat santosam viduh pragyaha parigyaneika tatpara. Why? Those who are parigyaneika tatpara, they tell that this activity is santosa. What is parigyaneika tatpara? Those who have a tendency of acquiring spiritual knowledge from all sides. The prefix pari is very significant here. Pari means from around. So, anu bhadra kratavo yantu vishwatah. Let all the knowledge come to us from all the directions, as it is a Vedic utterance. In Rig Veda it is there. And a man who is desiring to get knowledge, spiritual knowledge or wisdom from around, will praise such kind of contentment. Why? Because he will not get time for spiritual practices if he himself will go exert effort to collect something. I want more money, so I will do more, I will give more time to it. A small officer or a clerk, he does overtime and gets money. That means to collect something more of his desire, he is giving time, and time is more important for a spiritual aspirant, because if he gives time in these things, then he cannot be parigyaneika tatpara. He cannot acquire the knowledge, spiritual knowledge that are found in different directions, in different texts, in different spiritually progressed mendicants. If he wishes to do that, then he is to be satisfied with whatever is being given to him by situation. And That is the reason why santosha is being connected here with spiritual knowledge. Tat santosha viduhu prajnah parigyaneika tatparah. So those who are interested to acquire more spiritual knowledge, they are to be satisfied with whatever is being presented by situation or by God or by whatever. ब्रह्मलोक पर्यंताद विरक्ता जल लभेत प्रियम सर्वत्र विगत स्नेह संतोषं परमं विदुः. ब्रह्मावलोक पर्यंतम न ब्रह्मलोक ब्रह्मावलोक पर्यंताद विरक्त्या जल लभेत प्रियम. Now somebody has not really achieved the spiritual realization. Brahma avaloka means realization of Brahma. Avaloka, the word avaloka signifies realization here. Paryanta is till the realization of Brahman, we are in a process. We have not reached the end, the last gate. We have not reached. Tat paryantam, till the realization of Brahman, viraktya, with detachment. Virakti is not getting vexed, it is detachment, dispassion, vairagya. Viraktya jal labhet priyam. Even through detachment also, during detachment also, if we get something satisfying, sarvatra vigata sneha, without having any attachment to that, santosam paramang viduhu. If we are satisfied with that thing, that is called contentment, and not only ordinary contentment, that is parama contentment, the highest contentment. Atah paramang santosam viduhu. Sarvatra vigata sneha, if somebody is having that, jal labhet paramang santosam tad viduhu. Therefore, here in the section of santosha, we find that our spiritual realization has two aspects. One is two phases rather. One is sadhana phase, another is siddhi phase. After the siddhi phase, there is no scope of discussing whether he is santushta or not of whatever he is getting. But in the sadhana phase, he is in the process of spiritual realization. He is not yet a realized soul, but in the process, at that time this santosha aspect is evaluated once and again. Brahmavaloka paryantam, till the Brahma realization, not during Brahma realization or after that. Paryantad viraktya jal labhet priyam. Whatever is achieved or gained by chance, even in a state of detachment, dispassion, vigata sneha tasya labha tasmin cha santosha parama santosha iti uchyate, is called the highest contentment. Now astikyam. We have already discussed the word astika and nastika, and here it is just more elaborated, although the expression is smallest as far as all other expositions are concerned, like tapaha, santosha or other things in the previous khanda. This is the smallest expression for astikya, but that is more significant also. More than that, what we said earlier in the morning, that belief in Veda, faith in Veda or the pramanya of Veda is astikata, we said. But here it is being said, sraute smarte cha vishwasah jattat astikyam uchyate. Not only srauta but also smarta. Srauta means shruti jata, shruti means Veda. Our faith, our belief in Shruti would signify whether we are astika or nastika. If we are having faith in that, then we are astikas. But more than that, if somebody is having faith in smarta text also, like Yajnavalkya Smriti, Manu Smriti, all other Smriti texts, because Smruti texts are nothing but further elaboration of Vedic knowledge, and hence Shrauta texts are also called Vedic texts, although they are post Vedic, and believing in Shrauta texts also says that that is also a kind of astikya. Sraute smarte cha vishwasa jat tat astikyam uchyate, that is called astikata. And astika and nastika, it has a strange English counterpart, that is why I did not use it. We say theist and atheist. Theist is astika, atheist is nastika. But theism has a significance of ritualistic religion. But we are here discussing about spirituality. There is a difference between religion and spirituality. Theism has a connection with religion, not much with spirituality. That is why I wished to use the word directly, raw words astika or astikya, not theism. And some such thing has happened in modern times also. Great poets and scholars, they have opined that while translating Upanishads, it is difficult to translate some words, and while using them in their poetry also, they did not like to translate. The greatest of the poets, modern poets, is T.S. Eliot, who heralded postmodernism in world literature. In 4 quartets, he uses many Upanishadic words. In an interview, he said that yes, I use those words like copy and paste. I did not wish to provide any English counterpart, because they are not really translatable. We cannot translate them. Therefore, I have used them directly. In his poem, you can find many words, Upanishadic words, directly put. And then after astikyam, there is dana. What is dana? न्यायार्जित धनम श्रांते श्रद्धया वैदिके जने अन्यद्वा यद प्रदीयन्ते तद दानम प्रोच्यते मया. न्यायार्जितम dhanam, somebody is going to give his wealth as a gift, but if that gift is previously not earned in a righteous way, then that will not be a gift at all. That will be like a kind of transferring the plundered objects. Therefore, nyayarjita, the dhana, the wealth should be nyayarjita, should be earned, should have been earned in a righteous way, and when we give it, we should give it with shraddha in mind, with good faith in mind, with lovingness to the person who is taking the wealth, and that person should be shranta, shrante also. This shranta shabda has 2 connotations. First of all, one who is klanta of earning more wealth, one who is tired of life, he is giving time for something else, therefore he has no time to earn money for his livelihood, he is shranta. Incapable of earning otherwise, and other shranta is he is really needy, and the root shram has a significance here, because from this root comes the word shramana, Buddhist shramana. Those who do their spiritual shrama for the upliftment of the total universe, they may not have time for earning their livelihood. They are shranta, and with shraddha, with good faith, we should give to them our righteously earned money or wealth. and that would be dana. Nyayarjitam dhanam srante shraddhaya vaidike jane, and the gift should be extended to a Vedic man, not to a non-Vedic man. There is also connotation here. That means if you give to any Jaina saint or Bauddha saint, that may not be called as dana. That is the meaning here. Anyway, anyadvajad pradiyante taddanam prochyate maya. Not only dhana, in the first pada, the word dhana is uttered, but besides dhana, anything else also can be given as a dana, as a gift. Therefore, anyadva jat pradiyante. Whatever somebody gives which is not dhana but something else. Suppose somebody gave time for somebody. Today there is time is very, very valuable and scarce. There is dearth in time. No man has time. Son does not have time for his parents. Therefore, people are being invited on rent to sit with parents, to gossip, to smile, to laugh with them, to share their feelings, and in exchange they will get some money, of course. And if a person is giving time, not money, not taking money, giving time, and also not giving money, only giving time, that comes in the section anyadva. In the pada 1, in the first pada, dhana is given, shraddha purvak dhana danam. In the pada 2, anyad, anything other than dhana is also signified. That is also going to be dana. Anyadvajad pradiyante tad danam prachyate maya. Then Ishvara Pujanam. Ishvara Pranidhana is the phrase uttered in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Here it is being said Ishvara Pujanam. Ragadi Ragadyapetam Hrudayam Bag Adusta Nrutadina Anrutadina Hinsadi Rahitam Karma Jattat Ishvara Pujanam. Here in this verse, nowhere we will find that bringing flower and decorating the idol, bringing prasadam, coconut and all other things, sweetmeats, etc., bringing them and having pujana with ghanta, etc. Nothing is said here, but still the word Ishvara Pujana is uttered. And what are the means of Ishvara Pujana? Ragadi apetam. If you have, there is a phrase in Hindi, proverb in Hindi, Jahan Ram tahan kaam nahi, Jahan kaam tahan nahi Ram. Where there is kama, desire for other objects, Rama will not arrive there. And if you have all your feelings for Rama, kama will not come there at all. So these two things are opposite poles. So if you have kama, if you have raga, then your Ishvara Pujana is a misnomer. It is not effective, you are doing something externally. Therefore it is being said Ragadi apetam, warding of all ragas, means your feelings for other things. You have to ward it off. Ragadi apetam hrudayam. Bak, how should be your speech? Bak adusta, it is not vilified by anruta adina, by anruta etc., by falsehood etc. If you speak untrue and do Ishvara Pujana, that is no Ishvara Pujana at all. Atah bag adusta anruta adina hinsadi rahitam karma. If in your Ishvara Pujana there is slightest touch of hinsa, violence, then that is no Ishvara Pujana at all. So hinsadi rahita karma, the word karma is significant. The karma is being said as a kind of a yaga or isti or pujana. Karma is not day to day activity only. Therefore hinsadi rahitam karma jattat Ishvara Pujanam. This is Ishvara Pujana. Ishvara Pujana does not include prasadam and coconut or flower etc., or dhoop etc., incense sticks etc. They are excluded completely. Those things are not here. It means simply purification of your heart and deed and mind is Ishwar Pujana. What is the meaning? Purification of your activity and mind is Ishwar Pujana, nothing more is necessary. Siddhanta Sravanam. In Indian poetics, it is advised that a poet should first read the poems of his predecessors. He should read Bhasa, Kalidasa, etc. Then only he would be able to write something. Even if he has pratibha, he has to see the books of his earlier poets. Similarly, a spiritual aspirant should have to read or hear the earlier spiritual theories, siddhantas. Then only he can decide what he should do for himself. Satyam Jnanam Anantam cha Paranandam Param Dhruvam Pratyag iti avagantavyam Vedanta Sravanam Buddha. That Satya, Anantam, Satyam, Anantam Jnanam, Parang Paranandam, these are to be listened to. These are the topics we have to imbibe in ourselves, ingest in ourselves. Pratyagiva avagantavyam. Pratyag means inwardly, inside, interior. Means you have to inside and put it within you when you get the Siddhanta Sravana. Therefore, Ananta Jnana and Satya and Parama Ananda, these objects should be touched upon, should be meditated upon, should be deliberated over, and then it should be ingested inside your spiritual personality. Then that would be Siddhanta Sravana. It means Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, pondering over the aspects of Brahman, listening to the speeches, sermons and preachings of the seniors who speak about the truth, the Ananda, Satchidananda, the eternal existence. All those things we have to give in time for and think over them through Sravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. That is Siddhanta Sravana. Manana aspect was said earlier and Sravana he is saying actually these three things go together. Now Hri is another aspect of Niyama, and Hri is directly Lajja, bashfulness, shyness. But Hri is not only shyness here, it is desistance from the thing which is not praised in Shastra. Veda laukika margeshu kuschhitam karma jad bhavet. There are many kinds of papas, they are kuschhita karma told in Vedic and Laukik texts. That means in Smritis and Smriti texts. Veda laukika margeshu kuschhitam karma jad bhavet tasmin bhavati ja lajja. If thinking of them is creating lajja, shyness amongst us, then that is called Hri. Hri Seveti Prakritita, that is called Hri, and this Hri should be there. If we do not have desistance or bashfulness in thinking those kuschita things, then some situation may arise, we are prone to do that. We will see that we are prone to do that thing about which we have not given much time, whether it is correct or incorrect, whether one should do it or not do it. If we have not given much time, now a situation arises and we ourselves are prone to do that. If earlier in the beginning of the spiritual practice somebody has developed Hri for that, resistance for that, or shyness for that, those sinful activities, then in the later part of his progress he will be greatly helped by this niyama called Hri. Then Mati, Vaidikesu cha sarvesu श्रद्धा यासा मतिर भवेत गुरुणा चोपदिष्टोपि तत्र संबंध वर्जित. Mati is nothing but a shraddha, a deep faith. Mati is deep faith. Why I am taking examples from Parvati's penance? Because these Yama, Niyama, etc. personally I have found that Parvati was following all this Yama, Niyama, etc. That is why once and again I am coming to Parvati, because she is one of the foremost we can say penancer, because she got Lord Shiva as her husband through spiritual practices. That is why I am going to that example once and again. And this Mati is nothing but having deeply concentrated Shraddha in something. In the 5th canto of Kalidasa's Kumar Sambhava, Brahmachari comes, Shiva comes to test Parvati. Now towards the end of her penance, Shiva is coming under the garb of a Brahmachari. A Brahmachari is coming. Why Brahmachari? Because in ancient times marriages were arranged by Brahmacharis who were spiritual wanderers. They wander here and there. That is why they get patras, proposals, and this proposal they serve to another, this man's proposal they serve to another place. So this was a natural activity of Brahmacharis. Therefore a Brahmachari has arrived here, because they are natural to the context of marriage. And he goes on saying against Shiva that, "Oh Parvati, why do you want to marry Shiva? Vapur virupakhyam alakhya janmata digambarattvena niveditam vasu baresu jadvala mrugakhi mrugyate tadasti kim vyastam apiti locane." Whatever we try to find, qualities we try to find in a groom, a small iota do you find in Shiva? Why do you want to marry Vapur virupakya? He has 3 eyes. Do you have any other patra who is having 3 eyes, and you are trying to get a 3-eyed husband? So many things he said, but finally Parvati said something, and that will elaborate our Mati aspect. He says, whatever you said, O Brahmachari, against Shiva, maybe they are true. He tried to refute, and she tried to refute and refuted also. But towards the conclusion she says, mamatra bhaveika rase manah sthitam nakama vrittir vachaniyam ikhyate. Mama atra bhaveika rase manah sthitam. My mind is sticked here in bhaveika rasa, with a concentrated bhava, eka rasa bhava, that is prema, in one place, in Shiva only. You take 1000 years discarding Shiva's groomhood, but I will not listen to that, because I have my Mati sticked to it, and that Mati is here. And it is not that just without thinking anything Kalidasa wrote that verse. There are many things which are all spiritually charged. If we go to Yoga Shastra, we will find that in Kumar Sambhava text, Yoga Shastra is followed internally. Underflowing current is Yoga Shastra, and here that kind of Mati is being expected from a spiritual aspirant. Vaidikesu cha sarvesu shraddha yasa matir bhavet guruna cha upadishtopi tatra sambandha varjitah. What is tatra sambandha varjitah? Only guru, teacher will teach, this is shraddha, you should have shraddha in Ishvara. That is not sufficient. Shraddha should be sambandha varjita. This Mati aspect should be sambandha varjita. I am having love towards this because somebody else told me. means I am showing a relationship, third relationship to highlight my second relationship or first relationship. This should not happen. That is why Sambandha Varjita. My Shraddha is from my own heart. So it has nothing to do with the advice of my teacher. My teacher said that you do bhakti to Lord Shiva, so I am doing my bhakti to Shiva. This should not happen. Your bhakti should be Sambandha Varjita, means it should come from your heart, spontaneously rather. Therefore, Vaidikesu cha sarvesu Shraddha yasa matir bhavet guruna chopadishtopi tatra Sambandha Varjita. So in this way, mati aspect is over. Now japa. Now japa is a very common word. In all religions we get the tradition of japa. All pantheons they do japa, but japa has different significance to different people. In the context of Parvati also, there are many times when Kalidasa is showing how Parvati is doing japa. Spatikaksha Malika, and Parvati was playing with Kanduka, the small balls, and leaving aside that ball, she is loving to handle the rosary beads. Shiva, 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 we do it, and she is doing that several times in Kumar Sambhava. You would find it. All those include japa, but there are many more things also in japa. It is being said here. Sri Aurobindo says about japa that japa is not a great instrument in the path of spirituality, but it makes us prone to spiritual thinking. Through japa we get a type of concentration. Through long periods japa we get a type of inclination towards thinking the spiritual powers or the godheads. We are prone to, we are inclined to think about them. Common man does not do that. A common man does not do that constantly, and if he thinks at all about any god, anything, then that is because of need. He wishes something and he thinks of some god. But japa coordinates the mind and aligns the mind in such a way that the spiritual aspirant spontaneously goes on thinking about the Godhead, and that is the only role japa has, and at a stage we have to leave it aside also, just as we leave it aside the rosary bead in our deepest meditation. That is not necessary. That japa mala is not necessary there, where Ritambhara Prajna is arising, and that is one side what Sri Aurobindo says. But here we also get another side. Vedokte naiva margena mantrabhyaso japah smrutah. In the Vedic path, according to the Vedic instructions, if we do mantrabhyasa, then that is japa. Again, mantrabhyasa has many things to say. I am giving one example. Many of my friends are from ISKCON, so they will make their japa very loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a very long japa, but they will not do it internally, silently. They will not do. Why? According to them, japa I should do in such a way that another person will be hearing my japa. So he will get benefit, I am getting my benefit, but he will also get benefit. But my question was, if the person sitting by your side is a Saivite and you are uttering Hare Krishna, what kind of feeling he will have? So if you do your japa, our Shastra says, if you do your japa, best kind of japa is mental. You do that. That is the Vedic way. However, it is also being said that here like that Vedoktenaiva margena mantrabhyaso japah smritah. Mantrasya abhyasa, mantra again can be seen in two features, two rupas, swarupas. You can use bija mantra or you can take mantra, full mantra. Suppose Ganesha, you can utter Gang Ganapataye Namaha, that is full mantra you are using, or Gang 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 Gang, only Gang, that is bija mantra, that you are doing. That bija mantra will also help a lot. Each God has his mantra and bija mantra also, and through bija mantra we cover the number, more number of mantra we can utter. If we use the whole mantra, that may not be possible, but efficacy is the same. Rather, in uttering bija mantra, efficacy is more effective, efficacy is more, that is my opinion, because as per the theory of homeopathy, the smallest is the amount of the medicine, the highest is its effect. What Hahnemann saw, that there was a pond and a tree is bent over that pond. Some leaves are drowned in that water of the pond, and the whole pond is medicinal now. A particular disease is cured by the water of that pond. Only some leaves are drowned in the water. The whole tree is in the upward state. Then he discovered that perhaps this may be the cause. The smallest amount you take, you get the highest effect. Therefore, the bija mantras could be more powerful or more helpful in our spiritual progress rather than the full mantra, maybe. Vedoktenaiva mantrena mantrabhyaso japah smritah kalpasutre yatha vede dharmasastre puranake. In these texts we are finding the use of mantra, context of use of mantra. In Kalpasutras, in Vedas, in Dharmasastras and Puranas, we have found the efficacy of mantra and how to use and all those. Itihase Kalpasutra, there are many Kalpa texts. Our there was a Sutra period in yes, you want to say something? Sulva Sutra. Yes. Oh yes, thank you. In the post-Vedic way, after the Upanishads, there came a Sutra period, after which will come Smriti period. So between Vedic period and Smriti period lies this Kalpa Sutra period. During this period, there are many Sutra texts written by our saints, and Dharma Sutra, Kalpa Sutra, Srauta Sutra, all those things are there. In Kalpa Sutra, the way of worshipping, the modern ritual, modern means slightly post-Vedic ritual, they are written there in Kalpa Sutras, and there the efficacy of mantra, use of mantra, all those things are there, and performance of small istis, small jagas, those things are described there. So in Kalpa Sutra and other texts also, previous texts, Veda, Dharma Shastra, etc., Puranas, etc., also, the aspects of japa is elaborated. That is being said here, signifying that read more. He cannot elaborate here, we have to read there those texts, that is being suggested. Itihase cha vrittirja sa japa procyate maya. I speak, maya means maya Dattathreyana. I tell that is japa which are elaborated in those texts, in Itihasa also. Itihasa means Ramayana and Mahabharata. So Itihase cha vrittirja, vritti means the prescribed activity, they are called japa. जपस्तु द्विविधो प्रोक्तो वाचिको मानसस्तदा. Japa is of two types. You can utter it or you can mentally ruminate over it. So, वाचिको जपस्तु द्विविधः प्रोक्तो वाचिको मानसस्तथा वाचिको उपांशु उच्चैश्च द्विविधः परिकीर्तितः. Again, vachika, the japa through our utterance is also of two types. One is upanshu, other is uchchaihi. In upanshu, we simply make the movement of our lips and utter the mantra, but the other persons will not listen, will not be able to listen. But in uchchai type, just as I said about my ISKCON friends, that is uchchai, we can use it. But I really wonder, if we utter a mantra loudly, can we do it for a pretty long time? Rather, labial utterances, small whispering utterances take us to a longer period. That is my belief. But about the mental japa, maybe many have experienced, mental japa can be done by spiritually progressed aspirants, not by the beginners. It is not really possible. If you do mental japa, your mind will be straight and it will move all around the world and the mantra will go. Therefore, if something is moving, then mantra is being practiced there. So, therefore, even the mind goes out, it will again return to that movement of labial movement. If nothing is there, only mental japa is being done, then for beginners it may not be very conducive. So, vachiko upansa uchchaischa dvividah parikirtitah manaso manana dhyana bhedat dvaividhyam asritah. Manaso manana dhyana bhedat dvaividhyam asritah. This mental japa can also be of two types. One is manasa japa, mentally without uttering anything we do japa, and another is manana of that mantra. Some spiritual aspirants, they imagine the whole mantra as if it is written in the mental slate, and they are reading it once and again. They see that mantra in their mental eye and they try to read it 1,000 times. Some people write their mantras. In modern days, modern sadhus also advise that okay, you write the mantra. So, they write it 1,008 times, 2,008 times per day. But some people are there who read that mantra, they see mantra and read it also. That is the second type of mental japa. But manasa japa is really difficult, just as manasa puja is also really difficult, but they are very effective. Shankaracharya has done manasa puja many times. Stotras are there, Durga manasa puja stotra, Durga manasa pujana stotra. So, whole thing, the temple is being built for goddess Durga, and very valuable things are offered. Those things cannot be collected physically, but mentally he does it, and manasa puja is being done. Similarly, manasa japa can also be done. But one thing we should also know about our utterances. Our words are uttered in different levels. Now, I am talking on Vaikhari level. The word is Vaikhari. So, Para, Pasyanti, Madhyama and Vaikhari, there are 4 levels of utterances. Even in Para level also, that is utterance. Something happens like this. Mentally I am uttering, we all are perhaps experiencing the same thing. I am mentally uttering a mantra, constantly going on uttering, but my mind is somewhere else. How it is possible? I have only one mind. I am mentally uttering Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya several times. I am uttering mentally, but still my mind is somewhere else, thinking about the cricket match and its result and everything. How? Mind cannot be split. Then how it happens? It happens because of this, because our utterance has 4 levels: para, pasyanti, madhyama and vaikhari. I am speaking in vaikhari, then I can also utter that in madhyama, then pasyanti, then para. Para, it is difficult, it is turiya stage. Para utterance cannot be traced by the utterer himself also. In any other stage I am actually making my japa, not in mental state. If my utterance has 4 levels, then in some lower levels I am uttering that japa, by which mind has got the freedom to roam around, because mind has given the task to that stage of utterance. You do japa, I am going to cricket field, and it is in cricket field. That happens. Otherwise there is no split mind, there is no two mind also. Mind is only one. Hence, Jantravat, but inside how can we? Jantra is a physical thing, suppose. Mechanically, labially if I do, it is mechanical. So I am using my lips and doing some mantra, my mind is somewhere else, that is understood. But I am not using my lips. Mentally I am doing japa. If mentally I am doing japa, then how mind can go to cricket field? Mental japa cannot be mechanical. Mental japa has to be mental, because mechanical japa can be done in a physical level. Machine is physical. So a physical level can be allowed for mechanical japa. But when I am performing mental japa, how my mind can go anywhere else? That means I was not doing mental japa. That is my thing, proposition. I was not doing mental japa, rather my japa was being uttered at a madhyama or pasyanti stage, not para stage, madhyama or pasyanti stage, and that is again utterance stage. My mantras are being uttered inside, but mind is not there, mind is somewhere else. But still question arises that really do we get the result of such utterances when mind is away? Mind is not with me. How can I get result of my utterances, my japas? Can I get? We should not really get. When my mind is in cricket field, but I am saying Om Namah Shivaya, should Shiva listen? But Shiva is compassionate enough. Shiva has given an example. Shiva says that okay, washing machine was not invented then when Shiva gave this example. You are washing your cloth by the side of a river on a stone, you are washing your cloth and thinking something else. I am not telling about japa, just example. I am washing my cloth but thinking of something else. Do my cloth get purified or not? Does my cloth get purified or not? Cleansed or not? I am washing it. No, I am accustomed, it will be proper because somewhere I have to rub it, somewhere I have to do, I am doing everything. But my mind is not with cloth or cleansing activity, it is somewhere else, but still the cloth is purified. Yeah. So result is coming even if mind is away. God is so compassionate that you do your japa. Many people have this problem, that what shall I do? I am doing my japa, but my mind does not listen to it. I am listening to it, mind does not listen. What should I do? Then it is being said that no, you will get result. Of course, you will not get highest result, but purification we will get. Yes.
Gayatri is a mantra or japa is a...
Gayatri is a mantra discovered by Vishwamitra in Rig Veda. It's a mantra.
Is a mantra?
Yeah.
I thought it was chanda.
No, mantras are in chanda. All Vedic mantras are in chandas and they are mantra. Mantras can be in chandas and most of the mantras are in chandas.
And it should be given by some rules and all, then it works, or if we just it is given.
You see, this is again has two opinions. Swami Ramsukh Das says Guru is not necessary. to be a devotee to the Lord, somebody else may not be a mediator, not necessary. If he is arriving, okay. Even if he is not there, no problem. Even without Guru, Ekalavya could reach the highest type of perfection in archery. Then
Exceptions.
no, I am saying if one exception is there, then whole theory crumbles down. Therefore, we should not make a theory that Guru is very much necessary for spiritual progress. No, but Guru is a definitely an aspect which we should not just ward off. No, although Guru is available, a Yogya Guru, qualified, eligible Guru is available, I am not going to him. This should not happen. I should go to him. But even without that, okay, tea time. But we are going to end it. Should we continue? We are going to end now. One mantra only. Uchair japad upansuscha sahasra guna muchyate. From loud utterances of japa, upanso is 1000 times better. Labial utterance is 1000 times better. Manasascha tathopansah. Manas japa is 1000 times more effective than upansu japa. That is being said finally. Thank you. Oh, another is there. Uchair japascha sarvesham jathokta phalado bhavet. For everybody, loud utterances, muttering of mantras are fruitful. Nichair srotrena chet mantrah srutaschet nisphalam bhavet. If you wish to utter your mantra in low voice, you should take care that others are not listening. Not listening. If they are able to listen, then it will be nisphala, without result. That is being said, and it is in our Shastra. Thank you very much. The second khanda is over. Thank you very much.